Okay, hello everybody. We're starting a new chapter, and this chapter is all about triangles. We're going to start pretty slowly and easily today with how to classify triangles. There's two ways to classify triangles. One is to classify the triangles by angles, and the other way is to classify triangles by their sides. So if you look at what I have here on the screen here, we got four ways to classify a triangle by angles. The first picture shows that we want to have a triangle which is acute, and that's when we have three acute angles. All three angles are acute, so three acute angles. All three angles are less than 90. Equiangular, if you look at the word equiangular, the equa means equal. And so if you have a triangle where all three angles are the same, all three angles are congruent, then that's an equiangular triangle. So we would say that this triangle has three congruent angles. If you look at my third drawing, you see you have a right triangle because the triangle has one right angle. So that's how you recognize a right triangle, when it has one right angle. And the final way to classify triangles is obtuse triangles. So an obtuse triangle is a triangle which has one obtuse angle. One obtuse angle. All right, so there you go. That's the four ways to classify triangles based on their angles. Let's look at a couple of examples here, and then we'll look at another way to classify triangles. So what you see here is a triangle, actually several triangles. You have three altogether, and some angles that are given. And our first question about this drawing is, let's classify triangle EHG. By the way, we'll put that little triangle symbol in front. That means you're talking about a triangle. So we're going to classify triangle EHG. So if you look at that one, it does have a right angle up there. Do you see it? It's marked off. So that's going to be a right triangle. Okay, looking at that same drawing, let's classify triangle EFH. EFH. So if you look at triangle EFH, you see one angle is 60. I'm sorry, one angle is 30, one angle is 30, and you notice right down here for angle EFH, that's got to be 120 because you have a linear pair there. You have a linear pair there, so we know that angle EFH is 120, and that makes triangle EFH an obtuse triangle. So that's all there is to it. You just have to be able to classify the triangles based on their angles. Okay, so we mentioned another way to classify triangles is by their sides, by the lengths of their sides. And here we have three triangles. And if you look at that first triangle, you'll notice that all three sides are congruent. So that's an equilateral triangle. So an equilateral triangle has three congruent sides. Three congruent sides. If you look at the second triangle there, you got two sides congruent. That's isosceles. So an isosceles triangle has two congruent sides. Actually, technically, it's at least 2. But we usually think of as 2 congruent sides, but at least 2. And then a scalene triangle has no equal sides or no congruent sides. Oops, spelled that wrong. So scalene triangle, no sides are congruent. Okay, so easy. Let me do a couple examples with classifying a triangle by sides, and that's just about going to wrap it up. It's a short lesson, only one day in this lesson today. So here you see a triangle in my next example in which 2 sides are congruent, and you have an expression given for each of the 3 sides. And the directions are going to say find the length of each side. So find the length of each side of the triangle. So I think we probably see by now that the way to find the length of each side is to calculate x first and then plug that number in for x and get all 3 sides. So we're going to take advantage of the fact that you have 2 sides that are congruent and then use that to set up an equation. All right, so we have 4x minus 1.3 is equal to x plus 32. Or sorry, 3.2, not 32. Let's subtract x from each side, so that'll be 3x minus 1.3 equals 3.2. And so 3x is going to be equal to, let's add that 1.3 to both sides, so that'll be 4.5. And then divide by 3, so x equals 1.5. Okay, so we're not done yet. Remember, we got to go back and find those sides. So let's just find that top one first. So that top one there is 5 times 1.5 minus 0.2. Okay, so you might be able to do that mental math or just with a calculator, but looks like we're going to have, this is going to be 7.5 here minus 0.2, so 7.3 there. So we know this side right here is 7.3. Now really we only have to get do one more calculation because those other 2 sides are congruent. So if we do the easier one, the x plus 3.2, and plug in our 1.5 for x, so 1.5 plus 3.2 is 4.7. So those other 2 remaining sides are both 4.7 for that triangle. Okay, so that's really all there is to it. It's just a one-day assignment. So remember, we're classifying triangles. We're giving them names based upon either their angles or their sides. And there's 4 types of classifications based on the triangle's angles. And if you have an acute triangle, that means all 3 angles are less than 90. If you have an equal angular triangle, all 3 angles are congruent. If you have a right triangle, of course, one angle is a right angle. And if you have an obtuse triangle, you have one angle that's obtuse. And then the other way to classify triangles was by classifying them according to their lengths of their sides. There's 3 types that way. And so the first type is equilateral triangle, which equilateral, look at the word, equilateral, so equal sides. An isosceles triangle, which we normally think of as 2 congruent sides. And a scalene triangle, which has no congruent sides. So there you have it, just one assignment today, and there you go. So enjoy and good luck.